Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations Radio. This is your host, Steve Matley. We are talking today to Dr. Janice Bell. We've been talking about private lending, real estate investing, and funds. And Janice, you just had a meeting this past Thursday, and you invited me to be your guest. And that's exactly what we were talking about. We were discussing the type of funds that my company does, which is investing in raw land entitlement projects. We're doing mostly out of state now, Arizona, Florida, those areas. And we were discussing that. So the reason I bring that up is for people that want to access the privatelendingmasters.club, Janice will be starting to put up recordings, segments of the recordings of those meetings and those presentations on her website coming soon. So you'll want to check in with that and be able to access that. Or you can contact her through there, and you can contact her directly, and she can help point you to the people that can help you understand those things.
Yeah. I was going to say my best way to contact me is janicebell.me. Very simple.
Janicebell.me.
Janicebell.me. And
Okay.
I have my YouTube channel, so there's also segments that the speakers have on my YouTube channel. So you don't have to learn all the names. My YouTube channel is Wise Wealth University.
Okay.
However, everything's on janicebell.me, the club, the passive lending masterclass, my Instagram account, all those things, even my calendar schedule, if you want to schedule a strategy call. Just go to janicebell.me, and there's about 8 links of where to find me on social media.
Fantastic. So that leads us into what I want to talk about next, and that is, where do you find information? Who do you collaborate with? So 2 questions. One, who did you collaborate with to get to where you are, and who do you recommend that our listeners and our viewers would collaborate with if they're interested in getting involved?
Okay, so specifically, if we're going to talk about, say, a deal with you, because basically I have 12 speakers that I can have every year, and each one really invests in a different type of investing. And so it gives my members an opportunity to hear different speakers. I also use a texting service so that they can get the information from the speaker directly and then go ahead and invest. So I suggest going to your local real estate clubs. A lot of them are back meeting in person now, and find a mentor, but then check with other people in the room. Hey, do you know anyone who's invested with them? Don't jump in quickly and invest with someone that you really haven't vetted and checked their background. Because the most important thing about the deal is probably going to work in some way or the other form if they have it. But you need to really vet the person who's running the deal. And I do teach people in a master class how to do that and how to look into the person's background and make sure that they're legitimate and that they have returned the money from their investors in the past.
Yeah, and actually there are some clubs that actually, as a part of the membership, they include things like skip tracing applications and those things where you can use that, one, to find property owners if you're looking to invest, but you can also use it to vet people because it will show if there's criminal history or those type of things out there.
Yeah.
And it's good to do that, and because before you give somebody your hard-earned money to invest, and yes, if you're going to invest, you're putting money in that you are prepared to lose if everything goes wrong. You do not use your mortgage money, you don't use your grocery money, you don't use your kids' college tuition. You use money that you have to invest and try to help grow, and you understand that the world is unpredictable. Things can happen. But having said that, before you give that to anybody, you make sure that you have the highest probability of success by starting with people that you believe you can trust based upon a solid track record.
Yeah. And one thing I always tell people is it's going to cost you to invest. So there's 2 ways that it's going to cost you. You either spend money for the education and the training to do it the right way, or you lose money in a mistake. In a mistake, you're going to lose money in that because you invested the wrong way. You're going to choose which way do you want it. So if you're hesitant to pay the money for the training, you'll probably lose the money in a mistake. And actually, the training is cheaper than the mistake.
Right. So there's 2. So the biggest risk, the single biggest risk in real estate investing or any other kind of investing is lack of information. It's not the knowledge isn't there. And there's the old saying that good judgment comes from experience, which came from bad judgment. Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned, yes, you want to fully vet people and make sure you don't make those mistakes. Go through the training, understand as much as you can. At the same time, part of vetting is partnering with people who have the experience that you don't have yet. See, you can always put a smaller amount of money in and and allow people that have already been through those landmines and have learned a lot of that to manage that on your behalf. And there's nothing wrong with kind of peeking over the shoulder and seeing what they're doing a little bit and taking some notes. You can always ask questions. Now, that's one thing I tell people. If you have someone you're investing with and they want to keep everything close to the vest, not share anything, that's kind of a red flag. We have investors all the time that say, well, can you show me what you do? I say, well, one, I don't have time to do that for everybody that asks, what do you bring into the party? If you're one of our investors and you want to see what's going on, I've got no problem with that. If you're bringing investors to us, you want to see what's going on. We're not doing anything secret. We're not doing anything proprietary. It's just not all that well known, but we're not hiding anything. And the pie's so big, everybody could do this and still make money, I think.
Yeah, and there's platforms out there for, fund me type sites where you can invest money in different projects. And I would say, usually the minimum might be $25,000. Invest in a couple different places.
Yep.
Just like diversification, don't take 150 and invest it in one project, but just do it slowly and vet the person who's in charge of it.
Right. And we do that. We have sometimes a large investor will come forward and will say, how about we, instead of putting all this in one project, how about we break you up into 3 or 4 different things? And that way, if for some strange reason one goes sideways, we're still okay. Haven't had that problem, but that doesn't mean it can't happen because we live in an unpredictable world. So Janice, we're starting to wind down. Do you have any last thoughts or last things you want to share with our listeners?
I would say get the education, go to local clubs. I told one of my coaching students, you need to go to your local club, and he was the next county away. He went to the club, and then I was there because I'll drive to clubs to hear different speakers. So some of them are online now. Bigger Pockets is a great website where you can hear speakers. You can get on the forums there and ask people, what should I do about this? So there's a lot of information out there. Spend the time to educate yourself. Education's important. And then ask other people in your club to verify that person for you, just to check.
Great. It's great advice, Janice. So privatelendingmasters.club, or you can go to Wise Wealth University on YouTube, or you can email janicebell.me and you can get information from Janice. This is Building Solid Foundations Radio, KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. We're coming to you once a week with hopefully what's interesting information. Janice, I want to thank you for being on the show today and sharing your extreme knowledge and experience with us. We'll be back next week. This is Steve Matley, your host. Don't miss the next show. We'll see you next time on Building Solid Foundations.